Well, hey YouTube, welcome back everybody. If you're new, well, this is going to be part 2. We're looking at this old beam engine here, and our previous video we oiled it and put air into this, and it took right off and ran. It kind of sounds a little bit rough and clattery, but that's what we're going to start working on. First thing, let me get you guys pulled in where you can see what we're doing. You guys can see this here or not, but this has bothered me ever since I've got it. And when I first got this engine, I didn't have a lathe to use on it, didn't have a milling machine, and well, to be honest with you, my skills weren't that good, and I really liked this little guy, and I didn't want to do further damage to it. I just wanted to see that it did run, and I figured, well, one day we'll get to it. Well, I guess a couple days ago when we put our first video out, that was the day. So, all right, well, let's get this steam chest cover off of here and look and see why it's got this big ugly bolt on it, screw, and why on earth this is all just gum soldered together. And we'll get this steam chest cover off. Hopefully the birds outside singing don't bother you guys too much. It's a nice day. It hit almost 90 degrees today. So we went from a few days ago being just cold and wet, rainy. We couldn't get that canopy painted to, guess what, summer's here already. So I guess we'll take it. I'll go ahead and get this off. I'll bring you guys right back in. We'll get these apart. And unless there's something exciting. Looks like they're all coming. Oh, look at that. I guess we aren't going to break away. Something's going on here. That big stupid bolt's not, it's not even doing anything. What the hell is this? Look at this, guys. Sorry, it's going to be hard to focus, but somebody went to a lot of work to make a very oversized and goofy looking bolt screw. Let's get this off of our steam chest here. And that's the inside. It looks like they've just, I don't know if it was soldered on there and the solder's covering up the threads or not, but this looks like it'd be a fairly simple part to remake if we ruin it. So we'll set him out of the way. We'll look at our valve block. You guys see that? Let's look at the back side. And well, it looks like that's been almost soldered on to, well, it is loose. So, well, maybe that'll be what we work on next. Let's look at our face here on our cylinder. Pull this up where you guys can get a closer look at it. It's got some wear on it, but it doesn't seem to be scored. I can't catch anything with my thumbnail. So, alright, well, let's put this guy out of the way. We'll get our bolts out of here. And it might be a fun test to see what thread those are. Obviously there's been issues, and I'm glad to see that they soldered this part. Yeah, you guys see right here where that goofy bolt was? They've had to grind part of that away to get it to clear. But I'm glad that they didn't solder this tube on in place and butcher these screws up. although they're, well, they're not in good shape to begin with. The heads are all chewed up, so, well, we might put a piece of hex bar stock like this in the lathe. We'll turn out proper bolts with a hex head on them to replace those. I really don't want to damage the wear and the age that's on this little brass engine. I kind of like the way that it looks now, and I mean it's an old engine, guys. I mean, it's earned that color, so we'll try to keep making new parts to a minimum unless you guys have a good suggestion when it comes to aging brass. So if you do, please leave me a comment down underneath, and we'll give it a try, because there's, some of these pins have got considerable wear on them, and I'd like to make this engine run the way it was intended to run and sound, good and proper without rattling and clattering as it does it. So, all right, I'll get off of this and get him out of the way, get this put in a vise and throw some heat at it and see if it's soldered, or, hey, look, get something to point at it with. If we look right here, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. That looks like brass, or possibly even brazed onto it. They just covered it up with solder. So, well, let's throw some heat at it and see if we can get it apart. If not, I mean, it's not going to be terribly hard to make another steam chest cover. So, all right, I'll pull you guys back, get things set up. We'll bring you back in. Oh, did you guys want to see this goofy screw again? I'm so happy that's out of there. What an ugly little screw. So, all right, if nothing else, I'm happy that that's out, and we're going to make this better too. So, all right, let me get things moved. We've got our steam chest cover here in our used and abused little vise, and we'll get our torch on that. See, our solder's starting to give way. Oh, look at that. That's a good thing right there. I'm happy to see that. So, well, good. That's another thing that I thought's been ugly for years. So that's a part. Let's look at this. It looks like we're gonna need to put some more heat to it and get that solder out of our hole. If we're lucky, if this here is still got threads in it, but if it doesn't have threads, it's not a big deal. We can drill that out to a proper tapping size and then tap it and put proper threads in there, so that way we know that we're good. And yeah, it doesn't have that big ugly chunk of copper pipe sticking out of the front. So let me get that warmed up and see if we can't knock that out. Solder's starting to flow. We'll poke it out. Feels like there's a shoulder in here. We got it plenty hot enough. We're not going to touch it now. I'm not seeing threads down in there, but at least we know that this part here might be salvageable. We're gonna try to keep as many original parts with this old engine as we can. Try not to make new stuff unless it's absolutely, this is just too far gone, we can't do anything with it. But so, well, guys, it was a short one, but we're gonna work on this, try to get a video out at least every other day. Still working at least 40 plus hours a week at work, so this is just a an after work fun time share with you guys. So we'll get this done, and then we're gonna dig into our slide valve, and once we know that that is the way it's supposed to be, we're going to take our piston out and see what kind of fun excitement's inside of it. Then we'll address the packing on our rod and on our valve rod. So Hey, once again, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy this. We're going to try to keep this one here into shorter episodes so you guys can watch it all the way through without me putting you to sleep. So, all right, we'll be back. This will be back together, or at least ready to be put back together. And we'll go over what we did on that and jump into the next part. So, thanks again, guys. We'll see you here in a day or two. Bye.